What's going on YouTube? Misterwheelz here once again, and today I want to share my life story with you. I want to talk to you about what it's like for me to live with a disability and share some of my trials and tribulations, but also I want to share my accomplishments. I hope to inspire a lot of people, and the idea for this came from my aunt. I got a call from her today saying that there was a photo on her Twitter account of her and I that went viral to over 30,000 people in a matter of a couple hours. So this video is for those people that saw that picture, and for anyone else who cares to watch this. It's a backstory about me and my life and what it's like for me to live with a disability and stuff like that. So before I get into my story, I would ask you to, as always, please like this video, please subscribe to my channel, please follow me on Twitter at Sledgehead86, and like my Facebook page, Misterwheelz86. I will leave the links in the description box below. Alright, so my name is not Misterwheelz86, it is Marty Ferguson. I'm Canadian, and I was born in the small town of Cobourg, Ontario, Canada, on January 26th of 1986. And January 26th is significant because I share birthdays with two very famous people. The first person I'm sure everyone will know, or they at least should know, Oprah Winfrey. She was also born on January 26th. And the second person is very well known in Canada, and I hope that most people would know him around the world. You may have heard of him. He's the greatest hockey player that ever lived, arguably. Wayne Gretzky was also born on January 26th, and the cool thing is that I think, anyway, in 1986 Wayne was 25, and so 3 years ago when I celebrated my 25th birthday, Wayne was 50. And so I want to get into the circumstances surrounding my birth. First of all, my mother was 17 when she gave birth to me. I was 2 months premature. I was what's known as a preemie. And when I was born, I wasn't breathing. I was airlifted to Sick Kids Hospital in Toronto, and I was later diagnosed with what's known as cerebral palsy. And specifically to me, I have what's known as spastic diaplegia, which is a form of cerebral palsy that it means that I have spasticity in my lower extremities. And an example would be my legs are like an elastic band. You can stretch them out, but they tighten right back up again. That's what I mean by spasticity. And I don't want this. I want to point out that this video is not a sob story. I am not here to make people feel sorry for me, because compared to other people that I was in the hospital with, I am one of the lucky ones. But back when I was born, the doctors did not have a very hopeful outlook for me. They told my mom, don't expect him to be able to walk. Don't expect him to have any quality of life, because cerebral palsy can affect basically any function of a person. Their speech, their vision, motor skills, their muscles, their equilibrium, balance, ability to do pretty much anything. And my cerebral palsy is mainly in my legs, but other things are affected too. Like obviously my breathing, my speech. I know that I have a weird voice. I know I have a nasally voice. I know, guys. Please don't make fun of me for it. But my point is that I am one of the lucky ones. I have had a quality of life, and I'm going to get into that because I've had a lot of accomplishments in my life. But first of all, you need to know that up until the point I was 8 years old, I had 6 surgeries. And I had pins in my hips, and the incision was closed up with 22 staples on each side. I still have scars on my legs to this day. I also had hamstring releases. The rehab from that surgery alone took me a year and a half. And I actually lost the ability to do some things. Like before that surgery, I was able to sit back on my knees, or as it's known, sit on my haunches. And I can't do that anymore. I lost the ability to do that because I just never gained it back in the rehabilitation. But despite all my trials and tribulations up to the time that I was 8 years old, I was able, I had a pretty normal childhood. I was raised in a good family. I went to school. I wasn't in a special ed class. I made friends. I wasn't, that part of my life wasn't really affected. And by the time I was 10 years old, I remember one day I came home from school and my mom told me that the Variety Club charity, which is out of Toronto, they have a facility known as Variety Village in Scarborough, Ontario, which for those of you that don't know is a borough of Toronto. My mom told me that Variety Village was having this pledge program, and the person that raised the most money in 9 days got a 1 kilometer leg of the Olympic torch relay in Atlanta, Georgia that year for the 1996 Olympics. So I started out calling family members, asking for pledges and telling them what I was going to do. Then I started going door to door. Next thing you know, I was on CFTO News out of Toronto. They're a big news station. I was on TSN in Canada. I was on my local radio station, which really helped me get a lot of pledges. My whole town of Cobourg, Ontario, which was only about 15,000 people at the time, they really rallied around me and supported me. And probably the biggest thing was the local McDonald's had what they call the Marty Day, where $1 from the sale of every Big Mac went to me. And I raised the majority of my money on that day. Basically, when the pledge program was for what was known at Variety Village as the Sunshine Games. It was their biggest event. It was the marquee event. And we got there that day and they tallied up the fundraising totals before the event, and I didn't win. Before the event was over, before they announced the winner of the fundraising program, George Cohen, the president of McDonald's Canada, came out and said he had just got off the phone with Coca-Cola, who was sponsoring the Olympic torch relay, and they had opened up a spot for me and the third place winner as well. The guy who won the contest was getting $1,000 sponsors at a time, and he was a businessman out of Toronto, and he'd heard about what I was doing, and he actually told the organizers of the event and of the fundraising program that he wanted me to go because he was so inspired by my story. But we both got to go, along with the third place winner as well. And I went to Atlanta. By this point I was a national celebrity. I had my own correspondence reporter. The relay was awesome. I look at it as, I carried not only the Olympic flame, but I carried the same flame as the most famous athlete in the world. You may have heard of him, Muhammad Ali, because he lit the Olympic cauldron for the 1996 Olympics, as well as the 2002 Winter Games as well. So it was a great experience for me, and to that point I'd overcome a lot in my life, but it's not the only accomplishment I've had. I've been fortunate enough to traveled to Australia twice. I had an uncle that lived there for 15 years in Australia, so I went to visit him twice. I've been all over the United States. Some of my other accomplishments are I graduated college. It was a long road for me to graduate college. It took me 5 years because I never took a full course load. I had a lot of adversity in college because I'm not a great I'm not a great writer. I've always been a better verbal communicator. And college graduation was a huge feat for me. And I took many things: radio broadcasting, general arts, but I ended up graduating from what's called community and justice service worker. It's a fancy name for a correctional worker, and part of the criteria for graduation was 2 placements. But there was a lot of red tape around me getting a placement in a correctional facility because of security risks and risk to my safety. Even though I'm a pretty big guy, I'm over 6 feet tall. Even though I use a wheelchair and a walker. My college coordinator and I came up with the idea of doing a motivational speaking tour. Originally, it was going to be to youth that were locked up and inmates in different penitentiaries, but it didn't end up getting that big. I ended up going around to the different some of the different courses around my college that were involved with the correctional field, and I did a motivational speaking tour. I called the tour Marty Tour 2K12. There's actually a Facebook page. I will leave the link down below, and I'd ask you to give that page a like. Go check out my crazy hair from a couple years ago. I was going through a bit of a hippie stage when that was going on. So, I've graduated college. I've been a small-time motivational speaker. After I graduated college, I actually went back to school for sports journalism. I've always been a sports fan. Talking about sports is mainly what I do on my channel. It's how I started my YouTube channel. But I want to point out that sports journalism, I'm not a reporter. I'm not reporter material. I've always been a sports guy. But there's a difference between being a sports guy, being a fan of sports, having a knowledge about sports, which I would like to say that I feel that I do have a good sports IQ and all that. But the sports journalism program I was in, I struggled with the writing portion of it. I did great when it came to radio, anything to do with radio. I was on the air. I did live sports, sportscasting. I had a feature. It was actually a feature TV piece that was converted into a radio piece that the whole college community would have heard. Well, it played during halftime while I was commentating for a college basketball game. So the local community and everyone in the college would have heard that, and I'm very proud of that. So I ended up, long story short, I ended up leaving the sports journalism program. I auditioned for a sports TV reality show put on by one of the sports networks here in Canada called Gillette Drafted. And I will find my Gillette Drafted audition is on YouTube. I will find it, and again, I will put it in the description box below, and please be sure to give that a like too. So I auditioned for Gillette Drafted. That didn't work out. I wasn't picked for the show. And I still wanted more after all of this. I wasn't even though I left sports journalism and I didn't really work out, I kind of ran out of money, and I wasn't going to be able to, it was going to take me longer. It was a year course, and it was going to take me longer than a year to finish that course because I struggled so much with the writing aspect of it, because the professor that taught me the print journalism portion of the course was very strict. And I ended up walking away, but I wanted to still be able to express my opinions about sports and, share my sports knowledge. So one day, I went online to look up a topic to do a YouTube video, and sure enough, that was the day that Ilya Kovalchuk retired from the NHL, and that was my first video. And I've been, a little over a year later, I'm still doing, sports talk videos. It's the main part of my channel. I've also branched out into food reviews during since it's the off season for, most sports leagues. And today I got the idea from my aunt to do this video. And, I've only briefly spoke about my accomplishments and some of my trials and tribulations. If you want to know more, please leave me a comment. Tell me what you want to know more about, and I will continue to do vlogging videos about specific things that I've done in my life. Because I could sit on here all day and talk about my life and the things I've been through. And the only thing I can say to people is I hope that I've inspired you. If you're going through, a tough spot in your life, don't give up. Keep going, because it hasn't been all sunshine and rainbows for me. And, I just want to point out to people that things can get better when you don't give up and keep going. I hope the people that saw the picture of my aunt and I get a chance to see this video. So once again, guys, before I sign off, please like this video. Please subscribe to my channel. I could really use the support. Please make it a favorite. Give it a like. Please share it with as many people as you know. Please follow me on Twitter at Sledgehead86. Again, the links will be in the description box below. And like my Facebook fan page, Misterwheelz86. That's all for me, guys. I'll see you next time.